So let's take this whole one score thing, we'll ball it right up and just put that right in the trash. It's dead, it's buried. 6 feet under, never to be talked about again. Until the next time, I guess, probably. But it really only became a story in the first place because the Bills were something like 0-5 in one-score games last year. And then in Week 3 against Miami this year, they lose another game by one score. And people are wondering, and I'm here for this point, like, hey, we have Josh Allen, why aren't we winning these close games at the end, especially when he's getting a chance with the ball? I guess I hear that, sure. But it completely ignores the other times that they're beating the crap out of teams. They're winning by 2+ scores all the time. And since they are that good of a team, when they lose, they're going to lose by 1 score, more often than not. You know, the only time they have lost by more than 1 score over the past 2 seasons now is the Jonathan Taylor 5-touchdown game against Indianapolis. Right, yeah, when you're very good, you don't lose by a lot. And there's something to be said about, you know, when you win by a lot, it's not like, you know, it's not like you get extra credit or anything like that just for winning by a lot. I get that. You know, you still need to see these plays be made at the end of the game, so it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine with it now. I'm leaving it in the past. I hope that you do too, because Josh Allen did it this past week. He did it against Baltimore in such a big way. It's the biggest comeback win of his career. This whole front-runner notion that even I had mentioned previously, really not this year, but last year, and that the Bills just have this tendency to just not come back when they get behind, certainly by more than 3 or 7 points, and they're down in this. They find themselves down in this game fast. You know, like 2 or 3 plays into the game, there's an interception, a tipped interception, and the Ravens start with the ball on the 4-yard line. What are you going to do if they're the defense there? Of course they score. So you're in the hole 7-0. The Bills, to their credit, marched right down the field. I don't want to say right down the field. I think it was about 40-ish yards. They got a nice kick return from McKenzie following the opening touchdown from the Ravens. But they end up kicking a field goal and it's 7-3. But then now it's 7-3, and to me this is Baltimore's first drive. And this is something that I've brought up in previous videos, how McDermott does this kind of like feeling out thing on the first defensive drive, and you can't blame them for not doing it when they're starting on the 4. Like, they only have 4 yards to go. I'm not shocked that they scored. So this is really the first drive to me. It's just unfortunate that you're already down 7-3. And the Ravens, much to their credit, 15 plays, 81 yards, and the touchdown. They marched right down the field on the Bills and got out to a 14-3 lead. Now, me personally, I'm sitting there like, okay, I trust the defense to kind of come around here because this is what they usually do. I don't want to say, not necessarily like allowing touchdowns, but if they're allowing plays, yards on the first drive or so, McDermott usually figures that out. I'm pretty confident in him. He maybe is not showing his whole hand at first or something like that, or like I kind of just said, he's doing this feeling out game. Okay, what are they trying to run here? How can I defend this? But what happens next? The Bills give the ball right back on a Singletary fumble, and the Ravens are starting at the 36-yard line. They only get like 1 first down out of it, and they kick another field goal. So really, the defense is on the hook for 17 points, but like 10 have practically been gifted to them. The Bills get the ball back. They go 3 and out. Baltimore kicks another field goal on the next drive. So it's just feeling like a slow death here. The Bills they're dropping passes. What seemed like relatively routine passes. I referred to them as like, this is like 7-on-7 reps, and they're just flying through their hands. And the weather was getting bad, of course. The weather was not, it wasn't bad during pregame at all, really. It was maybe the middle of the first quarter or second quarter for sure, where I know that I rewatched the game. You can't really tell that it's raining, but it was raining for sure. It wasn't super windy, which is good, which helped, but just, very, very wet. Like, just almost like a constant misting. And it was tough. I know that because I was there, sitting in the rain, watching the Bills down 20-3, watching Ravens fans celebrate all around me and stuff, and that was frustrating. It was a super frustrating thing. Like I said, the Bills are dropping what I called 7-on-7 reps. The Ravens are catching these ricochets. Like Lamar escapes, which is just incredible. An incredible play by him. Escapes from Von Miller and just fires it up, and Milano's getting in the spot for a pick. and he gets hit from behind by Andrews as they're kind of colliding, looking for the ball, and Andrews accidentally, or purposely maybe, I'm not sure, pops it over to Duvernay. I think it was Duvernay. And it's just like, okay, it's like that. And you get this real feeling of, well, this just ain't our day. This is just not going to be our day. And honestly, I had that feeling too. I was like, geez, should I start Googling flights home right now? Like I could just get home quicker. You can call me fair weather, something like that. It's just in the moment you're like, ugh, it's just so frustrating. You don't even want to watch sometimes. Like I can't. Why am I doing this to myself? Type of thing. I wouldn't say I lose faith. Okay, not that I know how good Josh Allen is, and I witnessed how good it was in the second half, how good he was. But at the time, you're just like, this is an uphill battle. We're down 17 on the road, in the rain. You know, we've shown relatively no signs of life offensively. The Bills basically went, 3 and out a handful of times. They turned the ball over. They have 3 points on offense. And that's just a real recipe for disaster. The Ravens are a running team. They like to run the clock out. They dominated time of possession. It was like 38-22. It ended up being. So I knew it was a climb. But the Bills, much to their credit, 76-yard touchdown drive, going into halftime, keeping the faith, so to speak. It's perfect. Let's see a big stop when they come out of the half. It's exactly what they got. A 3 and out from the Ravens. The Bills put together a field goal drive, and suddenly it's a touchdown game. They give it back to the Ravens, nothing, punt again. Bills, 9 plays, 80 yards. Allen, touchdown. The guy's incredible. I mean, I can't believe, sometimes I can't believe how good he is. He's literally like a cheat code. They know it's coming, they can't stop it. I mean, he's their leading rusher on the entire season. He's their leading rusher in the game. He finishes with 11 carries for 70 yards and the touchdown that I just mentioned. Singletary, 11 for 49 in his own right, which is a fine day, but certainly not as good as Josh was running the football. Like I said, they know it's coming. They can't stop it. He wasn't as good passing the ball. 19 of 36 for just 213. It's one of his worst statistical lines, I would say. I don't think there's really any arguing that since like his rookie year. There were a lot of drops involved, obviously. The interception wasn't necessarily his fault, but like there was tips all over the place. His passes were getting tipped at the line. Patrick Queen almost intercepted one before halftime, so like that could have flipped the momentum. And you got my point about the game. Let me just make a point about this really quick. I brought it up earlier how this is like, oh, it's not your day. This just doesn't feel like our day. This is what's going to happen. The rest of the game proves that that's not really a thing. And I will probably say it again. Oh, today's not our day. It's just not going to happen for us. But the way the rest of the game played out just goes to show you that the whole, oh, not our day, thing, just keep playing. Just keep running your offense. Just keep running your defense and see what happens. And that's where my whole momentum thing, if you follow me on Twitter and stuff, you know how much I hate momentum. And announcers will make anything, will do anything, go to any length to make the game about momentum. And if momentum were real, why wouldn't the Ravens have won that game? They had all the momentum in the beginning. And then the Bills had it all, in the second half. But then the Ravens got the ball on the 2-yard line. How are they going to overcome the momentum of the Bills? And what do? They go 96 yards and nearly put them over the top. That could have been a game-winning touchdown. And, whatever. Momentum is stupid, guys. Get over it. Argue with me about it, please. I need to permeate this idea through other people. Great job by the defense. Jordan Poyer, incredible. Wow. I really hope they find a way to re-sign him. Really hope so. Guy's incredible. And I hope he's healthy as well moving forward. But quite a stand by the defense at the end there. It's not easy to do, especially when they have a rushing quarterback in Lamar. I think taking the field goal was probably the move there for the Ravens. It's a 99.9% make, that close with Justin Tucker especially. You're going up 23-20. The Bills would then have about a little over 2 minutes. They could score a touchdown, but I mean, you're giving them the ball back anyway. So you're going to need to stop regardless. I suppose my thought process would be you just want the lead. you'd rather have the lead needing a stop than in a tie game needing a stop, because John Harbaugh made the point about how it's 4 downs all the way down the field if you kick the field goal. Well, yeah, on the negative side of the field, but once they get on the plus side of the field, they'll probably just kick the field goal on 4th down and tie it and put the game back in your hands. Maybe that would have, they probably would have run out of time, went to overtime at that point. But, I mean, I am all for analytics. I love paying attention to win probability and stuff. I'm just, and the math right there might have made sense. I didn't really look it up, to be honest with you. But it didn't feel sensible at the time. Maybe it speaks to what they felt about how they weren't stopping the Bills in the second half and how good Josh Allen is, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Backfired. So I don't think he'll regret it. I think Harbaugh will continue to be like that. They're one of the more aggressive 4th down win probability coaches or organizations in the league, and the Bills are too. The Bills have maybe even been number 1 with that this year. Anyway, that's enough. We wrapped it up. Bills go to 3-1 by beating the Ravens. Huge comeback win, huge in the AFC, because you got to think the Ravens are still a pretty decent favorite for that division. Cincinnati obviously still there as well, but to have the tiebreaker with them, that's big. Miami loses to Cincinnati. They fall to 3-1, so now you're tied again with Miami. Obviously, they have the tiebreaker by beating you, but there's still a lot of football to be played there, and they might be without Tua for a little bit, so we'll see how that impacts them. But this week is Pittsburgh. It's a team that Josh really hasn't had too much success against, and that sounds weird, I know, because technically he's like 2-1 against them, but like last year, the opener was weird. He attempted 51 passes, only 270 yards and the 1 touchdown. The year before that, I believe it was on Sunday Night Football here, 43 attempts, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. And the year before that, where I believe it was when they clinched a playoff spot, also on Sunday Night Football in Pittsburgh, against Duck Hodges, they won just 17-10. And he had 139 yards passing and a single touchdown in that game. He added 1 rushing in the Pittsburgh, the road game against Pittsburgh as well. So this is the 3rd consecutive trip for Pittsburgh here in Buffalo. I do think that gives the Bills, a really good edge to begin with, let alone the fact that Kenny Pickett is making his first career start. Also the fact that T.J. Watt is not playing. I believe I saw a stat that the Steelers are like 0-7 or 0-8 since draft without T.J. Watt since drafting him. So, I mean, advantage Bills. Minka Fitzpatrick's a little banged up, starting to look like he's going to play. Caleb Witherspoon looks like he might be out. I mean, the Steelers have some players on defense. I like Miles Jack. I like Cameron Sutton. Devin Bush really has not bounced back from his ACL injury. He's been a bit of a liability there. They still have Cam Hayward, though. I don't doubt Pittsburgh's ability to keep the Bills in check on offense at all. I think they're going to have a bit of a tougher time rushing the passer. Alex Highsmith's been nice for them. He had 3 sacks in Week 1 against Cincinnati, but he's up to 5.5 through 4 weeks. So, I mean, he's capable of getting there. But this game is just so slanted to the Bills. Pittsburgh is a team kind of trending downward. Like I said, they're going to Kenny Pickett, who, he was like 10 of 13, and his 3 incompletions were technically interceptions, and 1 is a tip pass, 1 is a Hail Mary at the end. So I think, there's reason to respect Kenny Pickett. I just can't see him coming into Buffalo, injuries aside, for the Bills and beating them. I think it would be just a monumental upset. And honestly, like Week 1 last year, I felt like there was no chance. There was no chance the Bills were going to lose that game against Ben Roethlisberger, and they did. Stupid things kept happening. They allowed a block punt for a touchdown. They fooled around on offense and didn't get anything done. They punted a lot. They lost. They ended up losing. But T.J. Watt was wrecking that game. Melvin Ingram was even wrecking that game a little bit. Those guys aren't there. I think the Bills have a significant advantage. It's obviously showing in Vegas and betting lines. They're a 14-point favorite. It's the first time Pittsburgh's ever been a 14-point underdog since the merger, I believe, in 1970. 13.5 was their maximum. They're 14 this week against the Bills. Their largest underdog deficit in over 50 years. I mean, I expect it to look as easy as it sounds, guys. I really do. It's complicated a little bit by starting to look like Tremaine Edmonds might not be able to play, and Jordan Poyer and Dawson Knox. So I mean, those are, individually, I think you can cover up some of those losses. Dawson Knox made a big play on, I believe it was on 3rd down late in the game to extend the drive that led to the field goal. He finished the game. Tremaine Edmonds finished the game. Jordan Poyer finished the game. Poyer might have been banged up a little bit. Looked got a rib injury on that last interception. He sure was celebrating it just fine though. So I mean, but they all were. There's still adrenaline running at that point, obviously. Maybe they get Ed Oliver back finally. He's limited in practice. Jordan Phillips is limited in practice. Maybe they get him back. But they still have Josh Allen. They still have Von Miller. Even with the losses in the secondary, with even Benford being out and Trey White, hopefully he finds his way back after the bye week. But we still really have no inclination that might be a thing. We're just hopeful at this point. The Bills really need a bye week, really more than any other team. It sucks that they're going to get Kansas City next week before it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe not playing Kansas City at full strength. I want home field though. But maybe not showing your full hand against Kansas City is something. But I think those teams know each other just from playing each other over the years. I don't know. We'll talk about Kansas City next week. I expect the Bills. The Bills are 14-point favorites against Pittsburgh. That means it should look easy. I think it's going to look pretty easy. I'm going to pick the Bills to beat the Steelers. Let's go 31-15. 31-15 Bills over Steelers. Guys, thanks for coming this far in the video. Hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle and YouTube username are the same. Enjoy your weekend. As always, above all else, go Bills.